A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is powered by the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. We want to say thank you to some people, starting with our Diamond executive producers, Slimer Snarf, Lee Navarro, and Jonathan Brown. Also to our Platinum producer, Robbie Bobby Miller. And then to our Gold level patrons like James Johnson, Gene K, Trucker Sloth, Ryan Turford, Egg Shen, and Sony for Life. Thank you everyone for all of your support.
So, Sean, I gotta tell you, man, I realized, I was thinking about this a little bit ago. The one thing, probably the biggest thing that I miss about E3 was Treehouse Live.
Okay.
I enjoyed the hell out of sitting there for 6 hours a day, just consuming content, Nintendo content.
Yeah.
Just the interviews, the getting the in-depth gameplay on stuff. Like, I just felt like they handled it and did such a good job with what they were doing. Plus, not only that, like the tournaments and stuff, but that really isn't Treehouse Live. But Treehouse Live itself, I remember the first year they talked about it, and it was going to become a thing. And I was like, man, how's this even going to happen? And then now I look at it and I go, damn, I miss it. I miss it. It's the other day I was on a chat with Jules, with
nice.
Pat,
No
Rogers
way.
Base, and Josh Thomas. It was on Josh Thomas's channel. And
cow.
yeah, it was. He texted me and was like, "Hey man, you want to be a part of this?" I was like, "Absolutely. Are you kidding me?" So the five of us sat around. We kind of talked about E3 overall, Nintendo and E3 and all that stuff. And the one question that comes up is Josh asks, do you think E3 should go back to what it was, or now that we're after this year, what does it do? And I'm like, anybody that tells me that they're happy with this year, you're bonkers.
Dude, that's what I've been saying. I've yet to meet that person.
Yeah.
Who's happy right now?
The thing is pre this, everybody was talking trash. E3 needs to go away. It's horrible.
Don't say
no. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean.
I know there's a couple people. There's a select few number of people who are like, I think we should be careful here. Like maybe don't trash this whole thing. I know it's super fun to just kind of jump on with the crowd and.
It's not 90% of Twitter. Twitter is notorious for trying to burn the world down. And leading in, like, they're the same ones that want GameStop to go away. They were the same ones that wanted Toys R Us to go away. And then when it's gone, they kind of go, "Oh, I miss it. I want this. I miss this." It's so disgusting what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like,
I know.
For me, I sit there and I watch. I think about this year and I go, "Man, this is all discombobulated. Our information's coming all these different ways. Nothing is uniform. Nothing. That's the one thing. It was like." E3 was able to pull everybody, just basically like it's like when your dogs, if you have a couple of dogs and they're running loose, you just yank on the leash to be like, come on, get in order, get in line. Yeah. And they all kind of like, oh, okay,
cats.
but
it's hurting cats right now.
Yeah,
it's all over the place.
So
I hate it. Yeah. I cannot stand this, and thank God that I think people are coming to the realization that this is not ideal, and it's far from ideal, and because it's so frustrating because people couldn't imagine that it would actually be worse. They were just so focused on burning it down and tearing it down that they wouldn't even think about, like, what would it actually be like without it. Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that because I think people just thought, well, if there's no E3, like the building or the conference or whatever, then everybody would still just kind of do their thing in those 3 or 4
surprise
5 days. Like, that's the thing that you've all been trying to tear down is like, why would everybody share the spotlight? Like, why would you all want to do it all at the same time?
Yeah, nobody.
So naturally it disperses and everybody tries to find kind of their own day. And thank God, like, people are coming to this realization because, like, nobody was going to figure this out on their own.
No.
And so this is like the best case for support for E3 to come back.
Yeah.
Is basically what has happened. We weren't going to come to this on our own collectively as like the internet. So,
I mean, you're getting Sony does their announcement one day, right? And then this week we got EA that came out, which the only thing that, not the only thing, but the thing that got me excited coming out of that was Apex coming to Switch.
Yeah, they're doing Sims, right?
Switch. Is it coming?
No, they're not. No, they're not. No,
yeah, but the thing is with that, to be fair with that, they did say that they were going to have other announcements later in the year for The Sims.
That's true, but why wouldn't they, like, of all the games, like, that's the one that just really, I mean, there's a couple, we were talking about this on Nintendo Dads as well, which is the reason that I had kids, Bobby, so I could go be on Nintendo Dads.
Of all shows.
Worth it.
Yeah. In your mind, okay.
Honestly, man, I would play the crap out of The Sims on Switch, and I don't know, like, I have it on EA Access on Xbox. I could play it there, but I want it on Switch.
I definitely want it on Switch.
How did you feel coming out of that? Of all the EA stuff, like,
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched about a quarter of it.
It was tricky to stick with, man.
Once I got the announcement of Apex, I was like, okay, let's stick around for a little bit. I saw the Sim stuff, and then I was like, okay, I had stuff to do. So I was like, again, it's just like, it's hitting you out of nowhere. It's like, man, we all kind of just took our weeks off for E3 and knew, like, this is all I'm doing. So when something like that pops up, like, even though it popped up a couple days before, like, it wasn't on my radar. Yeah. So
you got to wonder too, because everybody brings up this whole, well, Nintendo can drop a direct and it'll get like 50 million views or whatever it is, and that's all fine and good. That there's a metric that people are kind of throwing out there. But the thing that I think gets lost is, for content creators and the people who propagate that message, like, where are all their views? Not that I'm trying to make sure that content creators get their cash and get their whatever, their piece of the pie, but there's an amplification of that message that I don't know is being kind of considered in this whole comparison of, does E3 need to exist because they get all the views from just dropping a video? It's like, where are all the views about people talking about that video? Because in my mind, like, that's where some of the real evangelization of this stuff kind of happens.
For me, E3 is this. It's not about Nintendo. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Nintendo. Everybody knows that. But it's not necessarily about Nintendo. It's about finding out. It is, but it's not. And let me explain what I mean by that. It's about finding out what the competition's going to do. It's about finding out what Ubisoft is going to bring to Nintendo. What EA might bring to Nintendo. What Bethesda might bring to Nintendo. What all these big third parties, is Square Enix going to bring anything to Nintendo? All these different companies would do these press conferences, and you got your taste. Yeah. You get to put that bug, and quell that thirst, and eventually you could be like, hey, this is going to be amazing. Like, I don't really like,
which is for us.
Yeah,
that's why. Yeah. Which is better for us. Which is why we should never tear it down. It of course is super uncomfortable for Nintendo and Ubisoft and all these other, like, it's terrible for them. Yeah, because they've got to show their hand. Like, the expectation is you show up or you shut up. Like, you basically show up with a presentation, or you like Square Enix.
Like, think about it.
For half a decade.
Think about it. All podcasts, all content creators, leading up, they all do prediction shows. They all do, like, and then they all do wrap-up shows where they talk about who won.
That's what I'm saying about that amplification.
And it's like, you want that to go away? Mm-hmm. Like, really? And it was,
as if it could just replicate without E3.
And it was like,
just all happen.
And the truth of the matter is this. I just want to say this, because I feel like this is a little knock, but it's a deserved knock.
Okay.
Jeff Keighley left E3. He made this big announcement. Dropped the ball in my mind. Because I don't know what the hell he's doing with this summer games things he's doing, or whatever he's doing. He's doing content different days. Nothing's really formatted. Nothing's, like, cohesive. Like, when he made that announcement, people acted like, oh, this is the death of E3. Like, oh my God.
I thought that about IGN. I thought that actually even more of IGN than anything. But the first thing that kind of tipped me off to Jeff Keighley's thing was like, it's like 4 months long, man. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm supposed to be? But I will say to him, like, this is so simple. He just set up like an email, like, sign up, like, put in your email and you get notified when big things are happening.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. But somebody else was putting it as like, it's like the world's biggest and most glorified Google Calendar that he just created and shared of all the things that are happening. It's like, dude,
it's to me, it's all it is just it's no different than Kind of Funny what they do. It's no different than IGN what they do. Like, it's just an individual person doing it rather than a group.
But Jeff Keighley, he's pretty handsome, man.
That's not the point.
Pretty good dude.
That's not, who
pretty
cares?
good dude. I like him.
I like the guy. I'm not saying I don't like the guy. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to point it to when he said he wasn't going to be at E3 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody started sounding the death gong.
Yeah.
Like, E3's done, you know, and that wasn't necessarily the case. Or
well, I think it was. But I think like, where are we actually celebrating?
Yeah.
I think it was the case that E3 was definitely a sign of like, man, it probably can't recover from this. And I think things were really taken out of E3's hands altogether.
But the question was with the pandemic. The pandemic
exactly.
pulls that out, and what exactly happens. And let's be honest, IGN don't go do their thing unless the pandemic shuts it down.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not, like, it's not like, oh, Sony obviously left a couple years ago, and it's whatever. They got their ball. They can go play wherever they want to play. That's fine. But still, Xbox was there. Nintendo committed to going there. All these big third parties committed to going there. I think that what they should be doing right now is figuring out a way to rebound this year and go, okay, we're ready. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, E3. Like, this is what we're going to do. I've been on record saying a couple times, like, I think they need to steal a lot of what Blizzard does when they do BlizzCon. Mm-hmm. Do some digital stuff. Do some, sell digital tickets where people can get even more exclusive content behind the scenes, different interviews, game demos that you couldn't necessarily get unless you were on the show floor, stuff like that. Like, find a way to do that and make that happen. And I think...
Well, something is happening on Steam, and somebody might be able to, I don't know, I'll have to ask somebody about this, but there's like a summer of demos or something happening where essentially you can just like download a bunch of demos for games that are coming out. Like, it's kind of it's all focused all at once, right? So it's happening around like E3 time. And I've been saying, I think you and I have talked about this in the past, like, wouldn't it be amazing if the demos that were happening at E3 that are specific there, like, why do they have to be exclusive to the conference center where like most people aren't going to be? So I think that's part of it. And then the second part of it is like, what would E3 do, or whoever runs like what the heck is it even called? Whoever runs E3, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I forget the name of it.
I just woke up 13 minutes.
Which is the weird thing too. The weird thing about that is Sony's part of that group, that collective.
Well, my point is like, somebody's got to fix the relationship with the journalists. Because they're the ones who are really tearing this whole thing down.
Oh,
like, in my mind, they're all pissy about just like the state of E3 and how much better life would be without it, and how much worse it got when the public started going in. Like, they have got to rectify that. And I'm sort of obviously leaning on the fact of like, maybe they should just stick it up or just like pick it up and deal with it. But they are a huge audience, and they're a vocal audience that I think had a lot to do with the fact that E3 got kind of trashed on.
Yeah,
for so many years.
It's no different.
That relationship has to be rectified.
But it was no different than when Nintendo stopped doing the press conferences. Yeah. I remember listening to IGN podcast, like NVC, where they bagged on Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Brian Altano, Jose, they were bagging on Nintendo for this, and I'm sitting there going like, I don't see the big deal. I don't get the big deal. Like, I don't understand it. This is awesome. And then after a couple of years, everybody loved it. They were like, oh my God, there's no like awkward pauses between stuff. And then especially when, you remember when they had the Switch reveal and we got that giant press conference in January, it was like, this is why you don't want this at Nintendo.
I feel like they mailed that in so bad, just to go, you guys don't want us to ever do a live.
Yeah, it's not good.
Again. But they totally, like, the whole thing, like with them, building a whole like amusement park, they could put on an experience and they can. They do it at the center. They do it at the conference center. Like the E3 booth for Nintendo is unbelievable. Yeah, it's massive. They could totally do a phenomenal job, and they run a really entertaining show live for hours and hours at a time with Treehouse, as you mentioned. Like it wouldn't be amazing? Wouldn't it be, because Nintendo does things so backwards? Like, wouldn't it be amazing if they were the ones to just like, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna come back. We're gonna have a live thing, June 9th, 2021, or whatever the hell it's gonna be. Yeah. And just for Nintendo to like kick it off, because I think that's almost what it's gonna take.
To me, look, if E3 does disband, if this is gonna be a thing, I would almost want them to go back to being what was it, Space World, where it was Nintendo's PSX, where they did this event,
nice.
And like people could go. I might have been, man, could it have been like one of the last If We Ran Nintendos we did, where we talked about like E3 and holding it kind of like a 3-day presser event where like you do day 1 in Universal Japan, and then day 2 in Universal California, and then day 3 in Universal Orlando, and like you allow people to go to these sites and play the demos and be a part, and like maybe you have like tournaments each day, like day 1 in Japan is the Splatoon tournament, and then day 2 in California is Smash, and day 3 is maybe like a Nintendo World tournament or something like that. Like to me, that would be like, make it a huge event, you know, and do it for a week, right? But like you have these live satellite feeds coming out of each day of all these different things. It would be, you know, amazing if they could do something like that. Like I would love it, honestly.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I'm just trying to like will it into existence at this point. Like just try to bring it back, and you can just let. Whenever I talk to people, nobody's happy with this right now, man.
Yeah.
We just want it back. So give it to us, E3. At some point, they should make an announcement.
With news though, this past week we got the little Pokemon Direct type thing, which they're just weird when they drop stuff randomly out of the blue for that. But then
we're giving them everything they need though to keep doing that. We're getting very excited, and I mean they're exciting announcents.
Some of the stuff is, but this week they're doing another Pokemon thing.
These days, Bobby?
Whatever. That's definitely.
I downloaded it, man. I don't know why I did that. I gotta delete it.
But they're doing another announcement this coming week.
Right.
And they're also Sakurai's doing the Smash reveal. Where he's revealing what ARMS character is going to be added to Smash, which is kind of exciting, and this is why I say that to me it's kind of exciting. They haven't given up on ARMS. I feel when you make a conscious effort to add a character of ARMS into Smash, it's almost like, hey man, this franchise isn't done yet.
I totally agree with you.
I think they come back with a second one.
How often do you even get a new IP from Nintendo?
Yeah,
like they're not just gonna throw it away. It's like, it's so strange though, because like their support of new IP is a little bit different. Actually, it's quite different than most other studios, where they'll just try to really keep pushing it. But I think this is their secret weapon.
Yeah,
nobody has a Smash.
Oh
they
yeah,
can do this with.
Yeah,
and I think they I'm hoping that they put a lot of effort into making this like a really appealing character. And you're like, oh man, I like this ARMS character. And I gotta go back and check it out.
They did the event a little while ago. You know, dude, seriously, you and I, man, we were hooked in on that hype train.
Oh, on ARMS?
Yeah, man.
What was it called? The Test Punch?
The Test Punch. I remember you, the Global Test Punch. I remember you and me and
Ho Shui was playing as well.
No. I'm talking before that. I'm talking because that was the demise of that game for me. It was me, you. And Seamus Mullins were hanging out.
Oh wow, yes.
And we were just the three of us were doing the Test Punch, and we were on voice because wasn't it supposed to be that Seamus was supposed to join us for If We Ran Nintendo, but we got the time frames messed up.
Holy cow!
And then he showed up when the thing was done, and we were like, well, we're just gonna play ARMS. So the three of us kind of just hung out on a call and played ARMS together. And man, I remember walking away from that hour being like, I'm in. I'm in. And then I think it was like 3 weeks later, something like that, the game actually launched.
Yeah.
We didn't jump in right away. We waited like a week for whatever reason. I think timing. We just had so much going on. And then we played that one night with Jason Lacey and Ho Shui. I think Brendan Myers was there as well.
Yeah.
And I got trounced so bad, I literally took the game back to the store the next day and traded it in. I was like, I'm done. I am garbage at this game. And I thought I was really, hot stuff the week, when we did the global test punch, that quickly it got away from me. Quickly that game got away from me, and I realized this is why I don't play fighting games competitively, because I stink. But the thing about it is, we talked about it back then. That lobby was the best lobby in all of online gaming.
I totally agree with you.
The matchmaking and everything was just phenomenal. It was so much fun,
especially for for things that we do a lot now too. Like we do a gaming night, or instead of doing a Mario Kart kind of lobby, you just get a whole bunch of people piled on, and you have to imagine they could scale that to a huge degree. They could have because I've just been always waiting for when, other than Mario Kart, what game can you play with a bunch of people? You're mostly capped out at 4 people, or 2 people ostensibly if you're playing Clubhouse games. It's just my weekly knock on Clubhouse right now, Bobby. Drives me crazy.
I want to play you. I want to play you at chess, man.
We should play. You'll destroy me at chess. You're very smart.
I don't know about that, but the thing is I enjoy playing chess.
Yeah.
I just don't know anybody that plays it, so I gotta. But I would love to.
I mean, I would say that I know how to play it. I know the rules.
Well, I'll play against the computer a couple times. You play a couple matches against the computer, and that'll kind of get you where it is. I actually played against the computer, had a pretty difficult time against the computer in terms of it was a draw, and they called it a draw, and it shut the game off. And it was that's not really how chess works.
That's
you
so
keep
funny.
going.
The computer flipped the table on you.
And the computer's okay, this is a draw. And I'm wait a minute. I am not losing. I'm in the dominance mode here. You're the one that keeps moving left, moving his piece back and forth. And then it was normally you're supposed to go, okay, is this a draw? And then but they didn't. It was just nope, draw. I was oh, okay. But then the following, I played a couple more games like that. Then I actually tried to play online. I played against somebody. I actually beat him. And I was this is kind of fun. I was
stream that. You should stream you playing chess. I bet that would be incredible. Yeah. I know it's not Animal Crossing, but
me really doing chess would be screaming at the screen and
exactly. I mean, there's gonna be moments, man. I'm just waiting for it.
That speaking of which, how'd you how'd you pop into this?
I wanted to bring up Nook or No Nook.
Because
I was no matter what, I gotta talk to you about this.
Yeah,
that was one of. I just came in because a whole bunch of stuff was happening on the Patreon, and it's just incredible to see all the support coming in. So I was just and you're yeah, I'm streaming. I'm okay, I've got to come on in and at least say thank you to people who just were signing up and everything. And I was just gonna come in, say hey, thanks so much, that's incredible, and then I was just gonna go back to what I'm doing because The Last of Us came out this week, and I'm kind of all in on that one. And then I was I could not believe the production value, the music. I mean, obviously, Pat is a gift to humanity.
Yeah.
And he was incredible as a guest.
Yeah.
And his, all of it just comes together. I mean, Animal Crossing, as you know, just so damn charming. And, your character is dressed up perfectly. He's got this suit and everything and the monocle.
Right?
And you've got the lights and everything. It's perfect. And then Pat is in his little chair. And he's just constantly sweating. That little little worry kind of dance or whatever.
Yeah.
It is, dude. That was, I was out of breath. I was actually laughing out loud the entire time, and it was so intense. Your music choice was. I wish that Pat probably couldn't hear the music.
Oh, he could hear it. He could hear it. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, dude! It added. Oh, how are you playing? Was it just on your phone?
On my phone. So what I did was I put it on the phone and then I put it up against the microphone.
Oh,
and then I just sit there while it's playing. So you can't see where the music's coming from, but I'm playing it, and that's why I don't do it through the computer, because then the person playing necessarily can't. But
it adds so much to it. Dude.
And I don't bring the music in until round 3, so because that's when the pressure hits.
You must have watched No Deal or Deal or No Deal so much.
No, I only watched it a couple times. That was it.
No way.
Yeah,
it's
man.
The total spirit of I'm watching Howie Manguru over here. It was so great. I think I hung out for at least a half an hour.
Yeah,
it's to finally close it out. I don't know how long the whole kind of show is.
Well, I did it for 2 hours total. I bring different people on.
Perfect.
So what I do is I go, hey guys, go into Discord, and that's why a lot more people are joining Discord right now, because I go into Discord. Go into the Nook or No Nook channel, pick a number between 1 and 1,000. The closest to it is the next contestant.
Yeah. Oh
and then
my God.
they come over. Now the difference is the final game of the night. I normally ramp up the money.
Yeah.
So with Pat coming over, I ramped up to 6 million bells. And the funny thing is like, so I have all the cases out there, and one of the cases is a bunch of gold bars, and that's the million. So once that pops open, kind of the pressure comes off of the game a little bit. But fortunately, he was playing when he picked his case. It was a high dollar value, so I knew in my mind, okay, this is still going to stay interesting. But he was like, and it's funny because when I play with other people, and I do that long pause, and like, should I? Okay, this is and I build up the drama, dude. I'll be sitting there with people that are playing, and they're in the chat, and they're screaming at me. Open the case already! You're killing me! It's so much fun, man. I love it. It's one of the best things, I think, for me personally.
It's one of the best, most creative things I think I've ever seen on a stream, period.
It's funny because I played it with someone one time. Someone invited me to their island to play.
Yeah.
That's where I got the idea to do this.
It's excellent.
And when I went to their island, I was like, this is so half-baked. You have a great concept, a great idea, but also playing as the guest, I learned a lot. So he had, you see how my set is, and I have the chair at the bottom. He had his chair at the top. Well, I couldn't see the numbers that were left. So I was like, you got to tell me what numbers are available for me to pick because I can't see them. So I was like, wait a minute, if you move the chair to the bottom, that's better. And then I was like, he had a bunch of bell bags out, and all the bell bags had like 100 bells in it. And I'm like, that's all well and good, but you can cheat. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally cheat and nobody would know. So I was like, I need to figure out a way. So that's when I did the cases, when I opened the cases, and the one that's a million is the million.
And of course you have cases that you just have collected or whatever.
Oh, dude,
actually in the game.
I had to buy them. I had the one case that had the gold bars, and then I had a second case that had the money in it, and then I had to buy all the. And they're expensive. They're like 100,000 bells a case. Like, it's an expensive item. I'm like, well,
not everybody can just start up their own game show in Animal Crossing.
Well, and then the other thing was this, right? So here's the other dilemma that I faced. How do you put the numbers on the ground? Because of the fact of you're only allotted X amount of patterns in the game. Well, I got paths all over. I can't afford 12 patterns to put the numbers up any place. And that's when it dawned on me. Oh my God, there's a line of shirts that have numbers on them.
Oh my God, that's so good.
And then I was like, that kind of plays it off too, because when you watch Deal or No Deal, there was always a girl that opened the case for you. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is perfect. The mannequins could be like the women that are opening the cases, kind of. And then the funny thing too was when I approached the chat one night, and I was like, this is what we're doing. They got all in, right? They got all in. They were like, oh, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna send you costumes that you got to wear.
I love it. Is that where you're
that's where the outfit
show host thing?
They build it for me.
So good.
There's also one that I didn't bring out that I used to do in the beginning. I don't do it no more. There was a banker. There's a banker outfit too that I have. So when I'm tallying up, the first time I played, I switched to the banker outfit as I was tallying the numbers.
I told Chelsea all about it. She wants in so bad.
Oh, I'll have to get her on.
She loves that show, and obviously she loves Animal Crossing.
I'll have to bring her on.
She wants to be in that spot so bad, dude.
I'll have to bring her on.
And she'll just freak out completely.
What I need to do,
don't tell her, the pressure will get you.
Oh, well, the thing is what I want to do is, Pat was the kickoff. So this week I'm doing a video. I broke Pat's episode out, and that'll go live.
Oh, good for you. That's so good.
So the thing is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite people to play, but they won't be on stream. It'll just be me and them live one-on-one, and that way I can kind of control the production value of it and everything.
Oh, but I love the chat though. It's so
good.
The
chat, that is true.
The chat, what should you do? The chat is so good, dude. Yeah. How do you do the deal that the Nooks are bringing in?
So that's just calculation. That's all it is. I'm calculating on my phone.
You're doing that?
Yeah, I do that. I do the
calculation. Like a formula or something?
It's a formula. All it is you take all the dollar amounts that are left,
Yeah.
And divide it by how many cases you have to open.
Oh, okay.
And then a number pops up. But now, here's the thing. Here's the part that people don't know. I play with that number.
Sure.
Depending on the moment and the player and all that stuff. So there's been times where, like, because I know what they pick. And there's times where they pick the million. And I'm like, I don't want to lose the million. You know what I mean? So I'm like, we're going to ramp this up and really tempt them to walk away.
Yeah.
And only one person's ever won the million so far. And that was, oh God, was it?
You got a good game.
It was Truckers, Rose of Death. His wife, K-Bear, she came and played. She picked the million. Boom. When she picked her case, she picked the million. And I was like,
how many cases again?
12 cases.
Yeah, I mean, not the worst odds, but
no, because I think when you actually play Deal or No Deal, there's like 36 or something. There's some crazy. Take you forever to do that. So it's a blast. But I had to actually. This is the funny part. Before, I don't think you saw this part. I had to box it off, right?
Yeah.
If you notice, there's like hedges around the outside of it because the animals will come and open the cases.
That is hilarious.
So check this, right? I have it boxed off on the sides and across the front, but there's one spot open where me and the guest can walk in.
Yeah.
Pat's there, and I'm talking to him on voice chat, and I'm like, okay, Pat, come over. And then all of a sudden, I realized, because I left the game area to go over to the gate to meet Pat, and the people are like, whoa, wait, no. You gotta go back. There's cases you left open. I'm like, I didn't leave no cases open. Because what happens, I blur the screen, I set the board up, so nobody can see what I'm doing, right? Here, a little bear, Murphy, is off to the side. He's in the area. He went in and opened 3 cases up.
Murphy's Law, man.
And I'm like, you son of a... I was like, okay, Murphy.
So you have to dig a hole at the front. Is that what I saw?
I dig a hole at the front so that way no animals can get up in there.
That's so good, man.
They're so infuriating, the animals.
I'm so proud of you for that.
It's
the
a
best thing, and you're just like, you're loving it. I like seeing you. You're as happy as can be, and the chats as happy as can be.
Oh, they love
it's just like, this is hard as hell.
It's funny because
I kept thinking, I had that picture of just like, and you guys have probably seen it the whole time. He's got him sweating in the chat. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen, man.
So, but all right, man. I'm gonna go with that. It was nice hanging out with you today.
Then. I'm not even heartbroken that you're leaving me all of a
sudden.
You're
totally heartbroken. So
no, I've been waiting for it this whole time. I'm like, well, I just wanted to ask him a couple questions about Nook or no Nook, and he's just gonna ghost on me. So whatever.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you next week.
See you, dude.
Thank you for listening to A Cuppa Joe Nintendo, a production of the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. If you like the show, you can support them at patreon.com/YouMeCapri. A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all of your other podcast services. Be sure to follow Bobby and Nintendo Gurus on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. For everything that Sean does on the internet, follow him on Twitter at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Also, twitch.tv Sean Capri. That is all. Peace out, Preston.